Psoriatic arthritis symptoms can be unpredictable.
I had joint pain, and I couldn't move like I used to.
I needed relief.
I got Cosentyx.
It helped me move better.
Cosentyx secukinumab is prescribed for people 2 years of age and older with active psoriatic arthritis. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur, like tuberculosis or other serious bacterial, fungal, or viral infections. Some were fatal. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms like fevers, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, had a vaccine or plan to, or if inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions and severe eczema-like skin reactions may occur. Learn more at 1-844-COSENTYX or Cosentyx.com.
Ask your rheumatologist about Cosentyx.
If you work as a manufacturing facilities engineer, installing a new piece of equipment can be as complex as the machinery itself. From prep work to alignment and testing, it's your team's job to put it all together. That's why it's good to have Grainger on your side. With industrial-grade products and next-day delivery, Grainger helps ensure you have everything you need close at hand through every step of the installation. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Get early access to Sleep Number's biggest sale of the year. 25% off the i8 bed, our most popular. Plus free home delivery. Limited time. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
Ready to level up your everyday? Quince makes premium essentials without the premium price tag. From quality clothing and stylish accessories to travel staples and high-end home goods, Quince has it all. And by partnering directly with top artisans and ethical factories, Quince delivers high quality at half the cost of similar brands. Shop elevated essentials without the markup at Quince. Go to quince.com/levelup for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/levelup.
This is the Daily Tech News for Tuesday, August 5th, 2025. We tell you what you need to know, follow up on the context of those stories, and help each other understand.
Oh, and today we got a good one. Ryan Whitwam from Ars Technica joining us to talk about Google's DeepMind Genie 3 world model, and Cloudflare says Perplexity crawlers are sidestepping site restrictions. And
hey, don't
like
do that. Don't do that. I'm Jason Howell.
I'm Tom Merritt.
Let's start with what you need to know with the big story. All right, so Google DeepMind has announced Genie 3. This is an updated world model that can do some really cool things. It can generate entire virtual and interactive environments. It's all done in real time, has the ability to, dynamically change and shift based on requests that can be put in real time. And Ryan Whitwam is senior technology reporter at Ars Technica, wrote a fantastic piece all about Genie 3 and is here to talk to us about it. Welcome to the show, Ryan. It's good to see you again.
Hey, good to see you too.
Yeah, awesome. Let's dive right in. So I guess why don't we start with kind of like what makes this so special? Obviously, this is the third generation, Genie 3. What are the big advancements that are going on here? And what really stands out to you in this announcement? What gets you excited about this?
So, I guess the most exciting thing is that it's so much better than Genie 2, which they revealed 6 or 7 months ago. And the comparisons are pretty staggeringly different. The visual fidelity is much, much higher. It runs at 720p, 24 frames per second, and it happens in real time. So you can actually interact with this. Essentially, it's an AI generated video that's just happening on the fly, and you can interact with it. And it's sort of it feels like a video game that you just sort of invent, as you go. And it's not just for games. It's tempting to think it's this is just going to be the next generation of how video games work. But DeepMind talks about this mainly as a research tool because, while you can interact with the video, with a keyboard, you can also have an AI agent doing it. And this is a good way to train AI because video games have sort of a goal and you can measure progress. So it's a way that you can train an AI agent. And because this is happening live and it's generative AI, you can make it do whatever you want. DeepMind has this thing now they call promptable events. So while you're creating this video, you can just say, I would now like this other thing to happen. I would like the conditions of the video to change. I would like to add another character or change the way the world works.
Man in the chicken suit literally ran through one of the videos.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's, so the problem though, is that these are demo videos. We're seeing what I assume is a very impressive application of this technology, but none of us get to use it. Even if you're paying for Google's $250 a month AI Ultra subscription, you do not have access to this yet. Genie 3 is just a research tool for DeepMind. And they talk about eventually they would like this to be something that people, can have, but it's not really available to any of us yet. Probably because it is very, very expensive. And DeepMind neglected to elaborate on how expensive it is, but just based on the fact that even if you're paying for the most expensive AI subscription, you only get a couple of 8-second VO3 videos per day. And they talk about how the quality level is very similar to what you get with VO3. So we're talking about an AI that is creating video on the fly, real time, and it has a couple minutes of memory, sort of like the context window in a chatbot. If you talk to a chatbot for too long, it runs out of context, it forgets the beginning of the conversation. Genie 2 only had a few seconds of memory. Genie 3 has a few minutes. And if you're talking about making a video that is a few minutes long, that's got to, if they were charging a person for that, that's thousands of dollars. And who even knows how much it costs Google to make? Probably more than that. So there's no access for those of us who are just sort of in awe of these demo videos. They said they're going to roll it out to, trusted testers, which is a phrase we hear a lot with these AI models. And they'll get feedback, and maybe Genie 4 will happen in a few more months, and maybe we'll get that one. I don't know. But if we do, it's probably still going to be extraordinarily limited just because all this stuff is so expensive.
Yeah. It seems like the research they need to do is figure out how to make it cheaper, or who would be willing to pay that much to use it, right? Is there some enterprise level system that this can help?
Yeah. There are definitely, I think with all this AI video stuff, there are definitely applications. There are industries where, they're paying human beings a lot of money to create video content. And it, at the end of the day, it might be cheaper to just pay, objectively a lot of money for an AI to do that, but You're not paying humans. And a lot of, and people in the games industry, I know there was a lot of a backlash when Genie 2 came out, and people were like, oh, this is going to be great for game design. And a lot of designers like, well, that's not really the way, things work. That's not how we approach, level design. But I have to think that even just being able to give this model some text or a photo and say, okay, create a world out of this, that's got to be at least useful for brainstorming or to analyze an idea a little bit more. It's sort of like the way a lot of us use text-based models to brainstorm things. But there is definitely the danger that people who don't really understand game design are going to look at this and say, oh, we can just fire half of the designers and we'll just have AIs that do this. And, and that could lead to, some bad outcomes in the quality of what, comes out the other end. But, I think right now, Google seems mainly interested in using this to improve AI agents, which is where a lot of these companies are looking right now to create more capable AIs that you can task with things and let them go do their thing. Because there's only so much training data in the world, but with something like Genie 3, you can just keep creating new worlds and training AI to do different things.
Yeah, an endless number of scenarios for it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what's really interesting to me about this, kind of a couple of different directions, is, just the term world model. When I hear and read world model, and granted, I'm constantly learning about this stuff. So, I get curious and I don't understand it until I do. But when I hear world model, the question that always comes up for me is does world model define the world as we know it here? So in other words, this is a model that adheres to the physics of reality that we live and experience here on planet Earth, let's say? Or is it just world model is to define whatever the world is that has been created for this particular system to live within? Does that make sense?
I think it's mostly the latter. Okay. But that said, Google does talk a lot about how its video models adhere to real physics, that they can simulate things that look right. And I think that's mostly true. I mean, of the AI video models I've seen, the VO stuff, and I guess the Genie demos seem to do that better, but there's like an uncanny valley sort of in the way things move, especially people. The team talked about one of the essentially it's a hallucination. This is still generative AI. It makes mistakes. One of the things they've seen go wrong most often is that people don't move right. They sometimes they look like they're walking backwards. And you can sort of, in some of the demos, you can see things sort of like they sort of glide along surfaces in ways that don't look quite right. Like they're not moving like something should move. It's when it's, walking or crawling or whatever the thing is doing.
Yeah. So, and then I think the other aspect of this that's fascinating to me is this whole idea of like synthetic data generation. Like, it's easy to, and you said this, but it's easy to look at something like this and immediately jump to the kind of games application. Oh, wow. Instead of, needing a team to create this entire world, it's just created on the fly. And who knows whether it actually creates an enjoyable world, but it's creating something that didn't exist, that somebody didn't specifically direct. And, you mentioned the problem of just the sheer fact that there's only so much data that we have that we can feed into these systems. Can synthetic data from a system like this kind of be trusted to be the gap filler in order to develop other AI models? Like, is a world model coming from a Genie 3, how is it determined that that's usable information on which to base the training of other AI models?
Yeah, I think the jury is still kind of out on that. It depends a lot what you're doing with the generative AI system. I think for things like chatbots, there's good reason to think that synthetic data will help. I don't know if it's going to be enough. I mean, we've already they've scraped the entire internet basically to make these things work. But when you look at some other applications of generative AI like robotics, I think synthetic data, from what I understand, isn't as good. The Gemini robotics team has explained to me that the way you generate new training data for a robot is you have somebody teleoperate the robot, and that's how it gains new insights into what it's supposed to do. When you say, like, pick up this glass of water and set it down in front of me, like you have somebody manipulate the robot remotely, and it learns over time. You can generate synthetic data to do that, essentially, pretend that the robot learned this 20,000 times in a short period. But that data, they say, is not as high value as having physically moved the robot.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And so we're talking a lot about, robotics, obviously. That's probably a really big kind of potential application for something like this longer term, right? Like it isn't just video games as we've repeated, but what are some of those other kinds of applications that this could be applied to outside of entertainment, let's say?
I mean, just about anything you can do with AI. I mean, if you were trying to train like an AI that understands how to drive a car, you could show it infinite roads. You can change the conditions. And presumably, if Google is simulating physics correctly, it would gain some useful insights from that. But again, this stuff is all very early. When you think about it, the tech industry has only been obsessed with this stuff for 2-3 years now, and it's not clear where it's going to go just in the next few. But I mean, if it doesn't get cheaper very quickly, I don't know how much longer most of these companies are going to be able to keep doing it. I mean, Google's got essentially unlimited money right now. Which is why they're giving away so many of these video generation things. Even if you're paying a lot of money for it every month, you're costing Google money probably when you go through all your video credits. So if Google can make this stuff cheaper and make it better, then you can do almost anything with it. But I don't know how many industries are going to want to predicate their entire product line on having access to something like Genie 3 when they don't know if they'll be able to afford it,
Yeah. It feels like one outlet might be a high level training, of industrial people or search and rescue people or safety people, something where you can get a big budget to throw against it, would be something you could possibly see them do now, but the cost is going to have to come down even for video game companies to want to integrate it, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's fascinating stuff. I love seeing just how rapidly this stuff is advancing, and to think that this is all happening in real time to the quality that it is, it's mind-boggling to me that this is even possible. But you know what? Like in a couple of months, we're going to be saying the same thing about the next step, whatever.
Yeah,
that
I like Ryan was already pointing to Genie 4 in the Ars Technica article.
Yes.
It's like, yep, maybe then, you know,
maybe then we'll be amazed.
Yeah, the team themselves, they seem kind of shocked that they had gone as far as they had in just a few months.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. It's pretty remarkable. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for joining us. Folks, of course, can find all of your awesome work at arstechnica.com. Thanks for joining us, Ryan. It was a pleasure seeing you again.
Guys. Take it easy.
All right.
DTNS is made possible by you, the listener. Big thanks to That Charlie Dude, Justin Zellers, Carmine Bailey, and we got some brand new patrons to shout out. Welcome, Rami, Lutapi, Brian, Sebi, and Tonic. Yeah.
Woo.
Picture this. You're in the garage, hands covered in grease, just finished up tuning your engine with a part you found on eBay, and you realize, you know what? I could also use new brakes. So where do you go next? Back to eBay. You can find anything there. It's unreal. Wipers, headlights, even cold air intakes. It's all there. And you've got eBay Guaranteed Fit. You order a part, and if it doesn't fit, send it back. Simple as that. Look, DIY fixes can be major. Doesn't matter if it's just maintenance or a major mod. You got it, especially when things are guaranteed to fit. So when you dive into your next car project, start with eBay. All the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love.
In business, they say you can have better, cheaper, or faster, but you only get to pick two. What if you could have all three? You can with Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. OCI is the blazing fast hyperscaler for your infrastructure, database, application development, and AI needs, where you can run any workload for less. Compared with other clouds, OCI costs up to 50% less for compute, 70% less for storage, and 80% less for networking. Try OCI for free at oracle.com/dailytech. Oracle.com/dailytech.
Psoriatic arthritis symptoms can be unpredictable.
I had joint pain, and I couldn't move like I used to.
I needed relief.
I got Cosentix.
It helped me move better.
Cosentix secukinumab is prescribed for people 2 years of age and older with active psoriatic arthritis. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentix. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur, like tuberculosis or other serious bacterial, fungal, or viral infections. Some were fatal. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms like fevers, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, had a vaccine or plan to, or if inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions and severe eczema-like skin reactions may occur. Learn more at 1-844-COSENTIX or Cosentix.com.
Ask your rheumatologist about Cosentix.
Quince believes that quality products shouldn't be a luxury, whether it's a breathable 100% European linen shirt or effortless stretch cotton pants. All of their high-end, top-quality pieces are about half the cost of similar brands. Yes, really. By working directly with top artisans and cutting out the middlemen, Quince gives you luxury pieces without the markup. Get the high-end goods you deserve at quince.com/upgrade for free shipping and 365-day returns.
If you're a lineman in charge of keeping the lights on, Grainger understands that you go to great lengths and sometimes heights to ensure the power is always flowing, which is why you can count on Grainger for professional-grade products and next-day delivery, so you have everything you need to get the job done. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
All right, there's more we need to know today, so let's get to the briefs.
Yeah, Cloudflare says it caught Perplexity's AI bots accessing web pages that had been set to block its bots. Cloudflare says it created, in response to customer complaints, a set of fresh web domains that had not been indexed by search. They were so new, even Google hadn't got to them. And they set robots.txt files to prohibit scraping, both of search indexes and of bots. It then asked Perplexity a question about that site, which it shouldn't be able to know anything about. And Perplexity answered with detailed information from the content on those sites. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Cloudflare then investigated and found that what Perplexity was doing is when its agent was denied access, and I use the word agent on purpose, it changed the user agent string to not be Perplexity anymore because it was denied, but to appear as a Chrome browser, I believe a Chrome browser for Mac OS. And if the IP address it was coming from was one that Cloudflare was blocking because it's only used for scraping, it would rotate IP addresses to avoid the blocks. Cloudflare said this happened across tens of thousands of domains. So when I saw this story, I was like, this is too bad to be true. Like, what is Perplexity's explanation of this? And I got to say, Jason, it's both good and bad as far as I'm concerned about how much I believe this. Perplexity said in a blog post that Cloudflare identified behavior from BrowserBase, which is a third-party cloud browser service that Perplexity says it only occasionally uses for highly specialized tasks, and that would be less than 45,000 requests a day. So Cloudflare saying tens of thousands matches up, 45,000 requests a day. Cloudflare has delisted Perplexity's bot, but it sounds like there's a little bit of a mixing of message from Cloudflare where they're implying that this is scraping and Perplexity saying, no, it's just the user agent. And a lot of people have been defending Perplexity saying, well, yeah, if I am in ChatGPT and I say, go to this site and tell me what's on it, it should be able to do that. It's not scraping it for training. It's looking at it for me. And in fact, ChatGPT can do that because ChatGPT follows Cloudflare's standard for user agent identification. Is when it says like, I'm an agent, I'm not scraping, whereas Perplexity does not. So I don't think Perplexity's blameless here. They could be following the rules. I think Perplexity is always quick to shout, third party, not me, because it farms stuff out so that it doesn't have to take responsibility. And I don't love that. But this probably isn't as bad as it sounds.
I'm happy you explained that because I don't know in my head that I have organized around the difference between scraping for, and scraping could be a bad word depending on who you're talking to, but scraping for these systems versus, using an AI agent to help me with this particular page that I happen to be on. And how is that traffic seen differently? I'm sure it's seen differently on the other side, but yeah, what you explain, Cloudflare kind of confabulating or whatever the word is, kind of combining these two things into the same thing when potentially maybe they're a little different. I hadn't really considered that. Like when I use Perplexity, to summarize a page, is that different than Perplexity having access to all of these things to kind of, slurp up or whatever for use on the back end? Are those two different use cases and should they be treated differently by the website? I mean, some absolutists are going to say absolutely not 100%. If we say no, nothing that has anything to do with Perplexity should ever touch the site. But that might be a little unrealistic based on how the internet works.
Well, no, it's a reasonable question of like, well, what if I don't even want an AI agent to act like a browser and come here? I only want humans to do it. And Cloudflare says there's a standard for that. It's called WebBot Auth. And it's why when you go to ChatGPT and do this, we don't see the behavior Perplexity is doing where it pretends to be something else. ChatGPT can identify itself as ChatGPT, but it's using Cloudflare's WebBot Auth proposed standard to say like, not scraping you, just being an agent. And then the site can say, well, in that case, that's okay. Or it could also say, no, I don't care whether you're an agent or not. And then ChatGPT will respect that. Most websites will be fine with that because they want people to get the information from the site. But there might be situations where you don't. And so Cloudflare has proposed that standard and Perplexity ought to follow it. I'm sure Perplexity has its reasons why it's not. Maybe there needs to be some more work done on the standard, whatever. But yeah, this isn't as clear cut as Perplexity bad in this situation. Just Perplexity being a little sus, and they could behave better and this wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, indeed. Well, authorities in Taiwan arrested 3 people accused of stealing trade secrets from TSMC, the semiconductor manufacturer that, of course, supplies companies like Apple and Qualcomm with its chips. The information was reportedly related to the company's proprietary 2-nanometer chip technology. That's its most advanced technology in terms of density and energy efficiency. I think 2026 is going big time, going to be the year of like the 2-nanometer chip for mobile. I think that's on the horizon, according to a lot of rumors that I've read. The identities of the individuals not released. Investigators believe, of course, that they had plans to sell or use that stolen information in the marketplace. And like I said, 2-nanometer right on the cusp of that. So this kind of ties into that.
I think it was 2018 or roundabouts there that they busted some people trying to take trade secrets from TSMC. I think it was 28 nanometer. So that's how long ago it was.
Crazy.
And I think they were trying to sell them to China. Presumably, that could be a place where they might be trying to sell 2-nanometer chip technology information, but maybe Intel wanted it. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
I'm not saying that Intel broke any laws when I say that. It's just they would have liked it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
11 Labs has released a new AI-powered music generator tool that it says is cleared for commercial use. Company says content creators, advertisers, developers, they can all use the music that they create in this tool in their own content and not worry about legal liability or copyright strikes. 11 Labs says that the data set, training methods, and output design avoid copyrighted sources and risky audio samples. So it's this new trend of like, this is ethically sourced training data.
Yeah. And I mean, I've heard, so I went on their site and I listened to some of the stuff, and, of course, as with everything, music gen related, it has that kind of like glossy kind of quality to it. If you know what you're listening for, it's almost immediately this is AI generated. But if this is like true background stuff, like music bed underneath, does it really matter? Whatever. But I do think that it is a trend right now. And I think it's a worthy trend of, making sure that, that the companies that are creating the music gen, that they are getting this ethically, because it's such a big deal for the creatives who want to know that, this system isn't built off of the use of their content.
Or if it was, can we get a little cut of the revenue?
Exactly.
For helping you train up on it. Right.
Yeah. And I mean, I've heard a couple of systems like this that are done, at least purportedly, self-reported, done with ethical kind of approaches in mind. And in general, as you may expect, maybe not, but the quality of the music that it generates is often a step down from the ones that we're pretty certain get their music illegitimately.
Well, yeah, if you get it from the very best musicians in the world, your training data is going to be better than if you have to pay the very best musicians in the world and couldn't afford it, right? Yeah.
Totally. But yeah, it sounded good to my ears for what it is. So there you go. And I appreciate the approach and the reason behind it. How about a few smartphone rumor threads that we can pull at? We can tug at them a little bit. First up, we have Apple carrier documents pointing to a Tuesday, September 9th launch event for Apple's upcoming iPhone 17 lineup. If this comes to pass, just kind of taking a look at how history tells us, what to expect beyond that. If it's September 9th for the announcement, you could expect pre-orders to open on Friday, September 12th. Retail sales and availability might open on Friday, September 19th. All of this is speculative based on historical precedent from the past. But enough for you to start getting excited, I guess. If you want to get the iPhone 17, that's something to look forward to. And then we've got Google has its Made by Google event that's legitimately, we know of
not
this,
a rumor,
not a rumor, set for August 20th. So that should give the company a head start in front of Apple on its big, Pixel 10 lineup release, right? Well, a report by WinFuture claims that supply chain problems might actually push back the Pixel 10 Pro Fold, the Pixel Watch 4, and the Pixel Buds 2a all the way to October 9th, 2025. That's pretty close to a 2-month delay from the announcement to availability if this rumor or this report is to be trusted, which I guess puts Apple in the driver's seat to get ahead, with their device. So anyways, right around the corner, you got some devices. You just might have to wait a little bit if you're a Google fan.
I'm not shocked that September 9th, the day that is consistent with when Apple always does iPhone announcements, might be that day. Like, that's not like huge earth-shattering news. But the idea that Google wouldn't be able to release things till October and still do an announcement in August has me puzzled. So
yes,
I don't expect the entire Pixel 10 lineup to be delayed till October, but maybe some of it. And that could be the source of some of these supply chain issues. But a lot of times this stuff, like Digitimes and folks talk about supply chain stuff, and they're just misreading something, or a date was set the farthest out just to be safe, and then it gets moved back up. So I'll be curious what we actually hear on August 20th.
As will I.
U.S. state of Illinois, my home state, passed a law that forbids anyone from providing advertising or otherwise offering therapy or psychotherapy to the public unless it is conducted by, quote, an individual who is a licensed professional. So no AI psychotherapy bots can be marketed in Illinois. Licensed professionals may use AI for administrative and supplementary support. So as a therapist, you could use AI with your clients. However, the therapist has to take responsibility for everything related to the AI's use. You can't later go like, oh, what was the AI that did it? You're responsible for everything. And you cannot use it in sessions where you're recording or transcribing without detailing in writing how the AI tool is going to be used and getting consent from the patient or their authorized representative if it's a child or someone else. The penalty for violation of those rules is up to $10,000 per incident.
Wow. Yeah, I'm sort of not surprised. And I think initially when I, kind of read the headline and kind of started looking into this, it was like, oh, wait a minute. You can't use, AI for therapeutic use in the state of Illinois, but it's less about that. It's more about like specifically marketing it as such, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you're using ChatGPT to give you guidance on how you live your life,
it's there's
a lot of gray area.
It's a little bit vaguely written because it says you can't provide, advertise, or otherwise offer therapy or psychotherapy or otherwise offer. So it would be up to a judge to decide, like, is just ChatGPT not blocking therapy, otherwise offering it? Or is that like, well, that's a use that is contemplated by the user and not being offered. It'd be up to a judge to decide that. And I'm not going to be shocked if we have somebody bring a case at some point.
Yeah, at some point. You're probably right. Oh, that'll be fascinating. Well, Spotify has launched Audiobooks Plus in the US as an add-on to its existing streaming plans. This is something that the company had trialed with users in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and a few other European markets prior to this. Spotify offers two distinct plans here. So one is meant for premium individual subscribers, as well as plan managers on family or duo plans. So if you're a plan manager or an individual, you can get an extra 15 hours of audiobook listening per month in your account. The other's for plan members. So if you're like a member of a family plan or whatever, the person managing that plan could grant you 15 hours. And then you also have the option of topping up an additional 10 hours on demand if you read a lot of audiobooks or listen to a lot of audiobooks. The new feature launches in the U.S. on August 5th.
Well, it's about time the U.S. caught up with Canada, Australia, and New Zealand on Spotify.
Yeah, seriously. We were behind in the one place that matters most, audiobooks.
Roku really known for selling ads. It's making more of its revenue on ads than devices these days. That's where the growth is. However, it is launching an ad-free streaming service called Howdy for $2.99 a month. It will include Roku Originals, so it's a way for you to pay to watch Roku Originals without ads. And it will also have library content from Warner Brothers Discovery, Lionsgate, and a few other sources. But the big deal is, like, it's only $3 a month. So next to all the other $20 a month services, looks pretty cheap.
Yeah, super affordable. You could almost sneeze that. Maybe not in the year 2025.
Well, you could, Jason. Your sneezes are quite valuable.
And loud. My kids will attest.
That's why they're so valuable.
I scare them when I sneeze. And finally, speaking of scaring them, and speaking of my kids, love them or hate them, Crocs are a thing that people enjoy wearing, including my children. Microsoft is reportedly bringing its Windows XP Grassy Hill and Blue Sky Bliss to a 50th anniversary edition of Crocs, complete with a Clippy shoe charm that you can attach to it if you want. Microsoft employees get first dibs ahead of a worldwide launch. So if you can't get it once they're available, you can blame those Microsoft employees for putting these on their feet. These stylish shoes will set you back around $80 once Microsoft makes its official announcement that is expected sometime in the coming days.
Yeah, it is sad that when we look at a blue sky these days, we think, oh, it's like Microsoft. But, folks, if you have thoughts on Crocs or Clippy shoe charms or why Microsoft Bob has been left behind, join our conversation in our Discord, which you can join by linking your Patreon account. Become a Patreon at patreon.com/DTNS.
Psoriatic arthritis symptoms can be unpredictable.
I had joint pain, and I couldn't move like I used to.
I needed relief.
I got Cosentix.
It helped me move better.
Cosentix secukinumab is prescribed for people 2 years of age and older with active psoriatic arthritis. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentix. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur, like tuberculosis or other serious bacterial, fungal, or viral infections. Some were fatal. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms like fevers, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, had a vaccine or plan to, or if inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions and severe eczema-like skin reactions may occur. Learn more at 1-844-COSENTIX or Cosentix.com.
Ask your rheumatologist about Cosentix.
Banking with Capital One helps you keep more money in your wallet with no fees or minimums on checking accounts and no overdraft fees. Just ask the Capital One bank guy. It's pretty much all he talks about, in a good way. He'd also tell you that this podcast is his favorite podcast, too. Ah, really? Thanks, Capital One bank guy. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
We end every episode of DTNS with some shared wisdom. Today, James has a reaction to Justin Robert Young's appearance about political messaging on iOS.
Yeah, James writes, "Hi, DTNS folks, longtime listener, medium-time patron, and love the show. I don't normally write in, but when I was listening to the August 1st DTNS briefing about the changes to the message app on iOS 26 preview, my blood was boiling. To me, this is basically the same thing as Gmail auto-enabling the categories a few years back to make email more usable than before. I remember there were doomsayers about, no, our emails won't work anymore. Hearing the numbers from Jury helps me understand why it was so much worse before the election last year. 200 plus texts per person? Geez, that sounds about right, but damn. I'm really glad to hear iOS is doing more about this. I hope they give the user more controls like email filters. Personally, any text from unknown sender with certain words can go straight to the trash as far as I'm concerned. I don't even care which side they are coming from. I hope Apple turns this on by default. Same with Gmail. The industry will just have to deal with it. Anyway, thanks for listening to my rants. Quack on, aka James.
I can get behind that. I mean, oh God, I am so inundated, not just in email, but like James says in text as well. It's it's overwhelming.
As soon as the elections come back, the midterm elections, it's going to ramp up again, and the next presidential election in the U.S., it's going to ramp up again. So, it is something that I think a lot of people are paying attention to. I'm actually going to be on Politics with Justin Robert Young this week, talking with him and the money man, Michael D. Cohen, who follows campaign finance, to kind of talk about all the different angles on this. I'm looking forward to that.
Excellent. Everybody should check that out. And if you have a comment about anything that we're talking about here, if you have insight into a story, whatever it is, share it with us. Feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. Big thanks to Ryan Whitwam. Thanks to James for contributing to today's show. And thank you for being along for Daily Tech News Show. You can keep us in business. All you got to do is become a patron. That's patreon.com/DTNS. And thank you for doing that. We'll see you next time.
The DTNS family of podcasts, helping each other understand.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Psoriatic arthritis symptoms can be unpredictable.
I had joint pain, and I couldn't move like I used to.
I needed relief.
I got Cosentix.
It helped me move better.
Cosentix secukinumab is prescribed for people 2 years of age and older with active psoriatic arthritis. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentix. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur, like tuberculosis or other serious bacterial, fungal, or viral infections. Some were fatal. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms like fevers, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, had a vaccine or plan to, or if inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions and severe eczema-like skin reactions may occur. Learn more at 1-844-COSENTIX or Cosentix.com.
Ask your rheumatologist about Cosentix.
Quince believes that quality products shouldn't be a luxury, whether it's a breathable 100% European linen shirt or effortless stretch cotton pants. All of their high-end, top-quality pieces are about half the cost of similar brands. Yes, really. By working directly with top artisans and cutting out the middlemen, Quince gives you luxury pieces without the markup. Get the high-end goods you deserve at quince.com/upgrade for free shipping and 365-day returns.